Hi guys, welcome back. In today's video, we're going to be discussing about Yatharth Hospital and Trauma Care. This is the second time I'm shooting this video because the first time I shot it, my mic was on mute and I just realized it after I turned off the video. But anyways, yeah, we'll discuss Yatharth Hospital and and Trauma Care ka Q4 FY24 ka numbers. Okay. So first of all, if you look at Yatharth, let's just discuss the business model in quick 30 seconds. It has 4 hospitals. 3 hospitals are in Delhi region, Delhi NCR region, that is Noida, Greater Noida and Noida Extension. And the last one is in this Jhansi Orcha region. Okay. And this fourth hospital that is there, Jhansi Orcha region, it was acquired around 2 years back. And, they are increasing the occupancy over there. It is a fairly new hospital. Okay. And in last quarter, that is in Q2, no, not Q2, sorry, Q3, we saw that they had acquired a new hospital called Asian Fidelis again, in that Faridabad region only over there. Okay. And it is a 200-bedded hospital. And if you see, it goes according to their plan, because when Yatharth had come during IPO, if you see, they had told we want to double our bed capacity. That is our number one plan. At that time, the beds were around 1,200, 1,100 odd, and they wanted to clear off their debt. And if you see, they're getting inch and inch closer towards their goal also. Okay. Now let's talk about the Q4 FY24 numbers. If you look at Q4 FY24, of course, once again, a really, really great set of numbers. Because revenues jo hai, it has been up 27% on a Q4 on Q4 basis. अगर आप QOQ के बारे में बात करते हो, even on a QOQ basis, revenue is up 6.8%, and पूरा साल में the revenue is up 30%. Similarly, PAT का अगर आप बात करते हो ना, PAT is up 123% Q4 on Q4, 30% QOQ basis में, and पूरा साल में it is up around 76%. So overall, on all three, whether it is QOQ, whether it is year on year, whether it is Q4 on Q4, right? Is Q4 versus last Q4, all three parameters you will see operating leverage exists. Okay. And the other thing to note down over here is PAT margin. PAT margin is at 20% versus last time agar aap dekhte ho, it was around 11.9%. Okay. So overall, great set of numbers agar aap income statement pe dekhte ho, and just see absolutely nothing wrong. Okay. Now let's talk about unka guidance kya hai, because see, Q4 FY24 tha acha tha, but as investors we have to look forward, right? Management ka ye bola in terms of guidance that they will sustain this level of growth, sustain the margins also, because their margins is around 26%, right? They will be able to sustain this also in spite of doing all the capex. Now, in terms of capex also, they're increasing the number of beds. Like already we have Asian Fidelis, which is a 200-bedded hospital. They acquired last quarter, right? And this hospital was already there. It was just not operational for 3 months, right? And they acquired it, and the operation starts from May 12th. So by now it's already started. The operations have started, and this will add on to the revenue from Q1. Okay. So over here also good. And is hospital ka khas baat hai, why it can add on to the revenue from day one, is because earlier in this hospital, all the empanelment is there, whether it is the government empanelment, whether it is aapka insurance ka empanelment, everything is there over here. So there is nothing to worry about. So I believe this 115 crore ka jo unka capex hai, that will be fruitful in the next 2 to 3 years. They should be able to get all add it on back to the revenue. Now, in terms of capex, again, if I tell you, like I told you, right, they had around 1,200 beds when they started the IPO, and they wanted to double it. If you see, right, I think around I think less than 1,100. Okay, so here what had happened here is, now they're telling like agle 2 saal mein, every year they will add another one hospital. So this year you will see another probably 1 hospital they will acquire, and again next year they will acquire another hospital. Now the reason you see them going for a lot of this brownfield expansion, that is, they're not starting something from new, like getting a land and building up a hospital, is because if you go, first of all, see, agar aap ek hospital ko khada karte ho, right, and getting that occupancy to even 50%, it takes you 3 years. Now imagine 3 years goes on to building that hospital also. So there's a lot of capital and time that goes into it, right? Instead of that, they feel it is much better to rather acquire an already existing hospital and improve the operations over there, right? And start from beginning all over. That is what you're seeing the game plan. Jhansi also hospital also was like that only. Asian Fidelis was also like that only. So going forward, again, in the next 2 years, they will add one hospital every year. So in terms of income statement, everything check mark. In terms of capex, check mark, right? Now let's talk about their hospital KPIs. So I'll just share my screen so it becomes easier to see. Yeah, I think screen is shared. Yeah, hospital KPIs के अगर आप बात करते हो, see वो here also. Look at this Q4 FY23 में versus Q4 FY24. You're seeing that occupancy has increased, right? 49% to 57%. Similarly, Q3 on Q3 also you're seeing 52% to 57%. At the same time, consolidated level on a FY23 versus FY24 also you're seeing occupancy has increased. RPOP का अगर आप देखते हो, RPOP also increased on all parameters. Q4 on Q4, Q3 on Q4, and also here also. So RPOP का अगर आप देखते हो ना, growth rate has been around 6 to 8%, right? 6% in Q4 and 8% on year on year. Now, one thing to note down over here is Yatharth is that one hospital in the entire hospital space you're seeing growth rate bhi hai, and the fastest growth rate in the entire space. Plus, jo growth rate hai, it is a combination of your occupancy and RPOP, and they're also doing expansion. Because if you look at the likes of Apollo, if you look at the likes of Fortis, Rainbow Children Medicare, everybody, उनका जो top line है, it is only because of RPOP, because everybody is charging so expensive, right? Rainbow का तो RPOP is very very expensive. Here they're getting the top line is only because मतलब price बढ़ा के उनको वो single digit का revenue आ रहा है, not because a lot of people are visiting their hospitals, right? So that is one thing over here. It is a good combination of both occupancy as well as RPOP. ठीक है. The other thing I would like to note down over here is, if you see, RPOP is here also. RPOP is a function of increasing the super specialty. Like, yeah, here can you see the super specialty keeps increasing? Like earlier the general medicine was 56%, now 28%. Last year it was 31%. So यहाँ पे product mix के वजह से RPOP increase हो रहा है, not because price hike के वजह से RPOP increase हो रहा है. If you look at Jupiter का RPOP is around Jupiter Lifetime का RPOP is around 50,000 rupees. Their RPOP is higher because उनका जो cash और insurance is around 46 and 55% in that range. Government का payer mix आ रहा है 8%. GPT healthcare का also RPOP is very high, around 40,000. Government payer mix is 6 to 7%. Yatharth को उल्टा है. Yatharth has the highest payer mix coming from government, around 40%, highest in the any hospital listed space. And in spite of that, the RPOP is growing on a year-on-year basis. So this is the only hospital in the entire hospital space. अगर आप देखते हो, volume growth है, value growth है, expansion भी हो रहा है, and on top of that, you're seeing कि like a great set of numbers, highest ever scoring revenue, and great and consistent numbers from the time of IPO. Because I've been tracking this company since IPO time, and IPO time से ना ये बहुत consistently result करते आ रहा है. The last thing I would tell you is, if I do a peer-to-peer comparison now, Jupiter का अगर आप देखते हो, it has the revenue sales growth has grown by 17%. GPT का very disappointing 3%. Max Healthcare around 16%. Fortis 7%. Rainbow Children Medicare 8%. Narayan Hrudayal also around 7 to 8%. Apollo का result नहीं आया, but I don't expect them to do more than 17% का growth. So all of this growth rate में दिखा रही हूँ. And here Yatharth has grown how much? 27%. So it is not a joke, right? 4 quarters a consistent result and beating everybody in the space. Absolutely stunning. That's that. Concall में तो ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा इसके बारे में बात किया in terms of occupancy, that going forward that they want to increase the occupancy बढ़ाएगा, and RPOP का भी rate increase होगा because super specialty में, because right now they're putting a lot of this robotic surgery, cancer related oncology related surgeries and transplant, and international patient का revenue भी बढ़ेगा. As a result, both RPOP और occupancy increase होगा. So that is more or less that was discussed in Concall. एक minute, make notes देखती हूँ, so I'm not missing any points. Because I attended this Concall live, so I had to like just take the notes on my WhatsApp. Yeah. Again, the last thing over here I just want to highlight this is, you'll see that Jhansi Orcha Hospital. आप ये blue color का देखो. This also has increased the occupancy from 14 to 21% in on a 40. Yeah, you will see here. Sorry, not this. 14% to 32% here, and यहाँ पे also 8% to 23%. I'm talking about it because if you look between Q2 and Q3, Jhansi Orcha में, the land in which this hospital was constructed, there was a bit of legal dispute, and a lot of people thought कि like इसके वजह से revenue impact होगा, because it was a new hospital and यहाँ से occupancy बढ़ने के वजह से आपका top line भी और भी ज़्यादा improve होगा. But that has not been the case. You will see it is continuously improving. Yeah, so that is there. That's that I would say in terms of PPT. And the last thing I would like to cover is in terms of your balance sheet and cash flows, because here is where the final bomb is there. Yeah, first of all, talking in terms of current assets or current liabilities, आपका उनका asset liability mismatch कोई भी नहीं है. In fact, if you see borrowings has come down significantly, right? Check the borrowings here, 200 crores to 7.52 crores. Short-term borrowings also from 6.3 crores to, sorry, 63 crores to around 7.8 crores. So hardly anything, because the management has been very vocal about the fact. Okay, mic is on. Yeah, management has been very vocal about the fact that, that jo bhi IPO money tha, first thing first, they wanted to get rid of debt. So that has happened, right? So no problem in terms of balance sheet. Balance sheet is quite strong. I will tell you the problem comes here is in terms of cash flows. Cash flows, agar aap dekhte ho, operating activities, you will see, first of all, profit before tax and exceptional items, it has nearly doubled. Around 87 crores are now 156. Just to a plain math, 8 into 8 twos are 16, so around 90 to 95% ka growth hai yahan pe, theek hai? In terms of here also, before working capital, tax wax kaat ke yahan pe bhi increase hua hai. After the working capital changes, you see that this is where the net cash flow is here negative, right? Because yahan pe 63 crores tha, and right now it is minus 3 crores. Now, why is this the case? किसी here बड़ा सा बम्बू का है यहाँ पे receivables में, because receivables has increased. Last time तो टू कितना है ये millions में है ना, या 22 crores था, अभी 119 crores का cash नहीं आया है. Why? Because again the problem comes here is in terms of आपका payer mix. आप कोई भी hospital देखो listed space में, nobody has 40% coming from government payer mix as much as Yatharth. Yatharth का पूरा साल में FY24 में 40% आ रहे payer mix से. Now this is not a problem. I'll tell you why. Because उनका जो hospitals देखते हो ना, whether उनका नोएडा का जो 3 hospital है, वहाँ के like सारा localities that is there, it is surrounded by this army, all this army people stay in a quarters ना, CBI people का quarters and everything. Now these people have all this ESI, CGHS का policy. So these people will go only to those hospital where it can be, where they can renew this, right? So of course, so because of this, they have done this empanelment of all this government hospital. Similarly, where this new Jhansi ka hospital is there, same case over there also. It is there in the locality where this railway ka headquarters and all are there. Okay, so that is why they have done there also a government empanelment. If you look at like I told you, na GPT ka agar aap dekhte ho, I'm comparing the small hospitals because it is not right to compare your large cap hospital with something like Yatharth. Like I can't compare Fortis with Yatharth because Fortis is there in all nook and corners of India. Polo is there in all nook and corners of India. So it doesn't make sense. Good would be like Jupiter and GPT because both are a bit regional hospital. Jupiter में अगर आप देखते हो 1% या 2% आता है government payer mix से, GPT में आते हैं around 7 to 8%. Both of these also, if you see, यहाँ पे ARPOB is high because cash and insurance में ज्यादा आता है, right? Because cash में you can readily take a price increase. Insurance में 10 to 15% lesser than cash आपका price hike होता है, and government payer mix में 30% less price hike compared to your cash. So as a result, because of that, one, ARPOB is lower here compared to other hospitals. The second reason here why government payer mix becomes a bit negative is because working capital में थोड़ा दिक्कत होता है. Because let's say if you're a patient who's paying in cash, hospital will not let you discharge if you don't pay the full amount. Now, because the minute you get out of the hospital, you must have cleared all your bills, right? So there, cash में थोड़ा working capital का problem ही नहीं होता है because it is a debit cycle. You have to pay first to get your treatment. Even in fact, if you go to a hospital, the doctor will tell ना पहले आप जाके fees pay करो उस operation का, then आपका operation होता है. Insurance में क्या होता है? You give the treatment and after like 30 to 60 days, depending on the insurance and the hospital का जो agreement है, the working capital is. In the government, when you talk about it, government का working capital होता है 45 to 60 to 90 days. Now this time the working capital has increased more than this is because one, elections. Because of elections, of course, all the there's a capital crunch coming. The second reason is because the government में क्या हो रहा है अभी, जो portal है from which they can get this payment and payment is getting approved, the bills are getting approved, the portal has been changed and there are some changes going on over there. So because of these two reasons combined, election and the change in portal, is why you're seeing that the receivables has increased so much. Now, actually, this is not just a problem pertaining to Yatharth. Like let's say fully Yatharth was suffering, then it would be a problem. If you guys go read Narayan Hridayalay's Concall, read Narayan Hridayalay's Q3 Concall, there also the management has clearly mentioned that going forward, especially at least for the next 2 or 3 quarters, they will reduce the payer mix coming from government, and they're doing so consciously because elections के time में आपका payment आने में late हो सकता है, and अगर late हो गया वहाँ पे तो receivables बढ़ जाएगा, receivables बढ़ा तो cash flows बढ़ेगा. So Narayan Hrudayalaya has experienced this in past, and because of that they stopped it immediately in Q3, right? Their government का pay mix became, I think, significantly or drastically lower compared to any other time. But But Yatharth can't do that because, like I told you, उनका geography ऐसा है where they have to cater here. बाप रे. Yeah, they have to cater over here. So that is why this has happened. Now the problem comes, I'll tell you one thing, okay? If you are someone who's thinking like, ek padaku ho, and you will just read the book and be like, oh, receivables but it is not a problem. You don't understand the business model. This is like first order level thinking. You will consider this as a problem, okay? But let's say if you are someone who understands second order level thinking, you understand critical thinking, you will be okay. The problem happens jab H1 mein balance sheet aayega. And even at that time, agar ye receivables elevated ho gaya na, then it becomes a problem. And I think until then, you can give this company a benefit of doubt. Because come on, yaar, 4 quarters se consistency result kar raha hai. 4 quarters it is beating everybody in the space and it is getting punished over here. Okay? So this is one issue. The second issue is income statement mein bola tha. Where is that point? I can't find it. That remember between Q1 and Q2 इनका एक problem हुआ था that the IT department had raid, like they had an IT raid or something, and that time one of their bank accounts had been frozen and I think their bank account had around 70 crores in cash. They had frozen one of their bank accounts, and management का बोलना है कि like it is a part and parcel. Anyone who does an IT raid on a company, a certain part of your assets will be frozen because it is just a process that happens. Only one thing I do not appreciate over here is the fact that they didn't disclose this when the whole situation happened. They could have disclosed it and they didn't, and they disclosed it in Q4. I think this is the only one thing. But having said that, I would say I think it's a very subjective matter. You look at how you want to look at it. For me, I'll tell you personally, this IT rate and everything right now, at this point, I just really don't care. I mean, that's the best way I can put. Yeah. So yeah, I'll tell you why I also don't care. See, for me, the entire IT tax rate issue becomes when it is absolutely confirmed that ye company ne ghapla kiya hai, not Yatharth, but any other company, okay, has absolutely done ghapla. You get it from the IT department ka wo notification bhi aata hai, BSc mein bhi ye notification aata hai. Other than that, I don't see, because it is India, and if you are chasing a high growth company, I will tell you, आपको तो IT का tax rate का issue पड़ता ही पड़ेगा. There is no escaping from this. I believe at this rate, I feel like all my companies are getting IT rated, right? I think only like 3-4 companies are left in my portfolio that is supposed to get IT rated. If you had asked me 2 to 3 years back, like how do you look at IT rate, I would have probably once this issue comes out, I would have just sold my stock and gone. But over the years, I've learned IT rate, until it is confirmed, just no, because in this whole process, the retail gets out and everybody else makes money. So I just don't see any longer as an issue. Now it can be completely different for anybody else, because it comes down to ultimately, it's a very subjective thing. What I might agree is not necessarily what you might agree, because corporate governance issue is I would say corporate governance issue and valuation is very subjective. Like for example, I think my opinion remains the same even on Polycap, like I discussed last time. A lot of people found value at that time when the stock fell, and a lot of people found it as a CG issue and got out also. So there is no right or wrong over here. Ultimately, because it's a process of decision making. आप कैसे बोल सकते हो कि like somebody's decision is wrong and somebody's decision is correct? I don't think there's a metric over here for you to judge. So I think I would leave for you to infer as to how you look at this this entire IT tax. In fact, the management also has told since they haven't found anything from the IT department or anything, they're actually getting this resolved, and the 70 crore jiska unka ye jo frozen hai account, it will be resolved probably in next Q1 or Q2. It is supposed to be happen right now, but having said that, election and everything, a lot of crunch has happened over here. So this is the only thing. I only feel really bad for Yatharth. Is probably the only company, right, that has been doing very right. Like sales growth hai, operating leverage hai, margin hai, ROE is in improving, capex kar raha hai. There is a good amount of tailwinds in tailwinds in the space. Volume growth is there, value growth is there, like literally. And in fact, I will tell you, a lot of hospitals that got listed, whether it is Jupiter, GPT at all, they got listed at a very absurd valuation, especially Jupiter Lifeline Hospital, to be very honest with you. Yatharth came at a very decent valuation, and it has been providing consistent result for the last 4 quarters, and the best person in the entire space. And somehow it keeps falling in problems one or the other. Like it probably has the worst luck to be very honest, and it reminds me of this one quote I read somewhere, I don't know which book or what, that when it comes to investing now, like you can get all the parameters right, like just like what I told you, all the parameters, you can get it all right and still not make money in the market. And you can like just be a blind fool and just invest the money and still make money. And I think that is the beauty of the market, right? Like the market is bigger than anybody, and it's very unpredictable, and there's nothing you can do. Like there's no way you're going to get all your 10 on 10 bets right over here. So with Yatharth, I would say that is a problem कि like very bad luck, क्योंकि Q1 का तगड़ा रिजल्ट था. And we saw Q1 में IT, after Q1 का result we saw IT rate happen. So Q2 में आया और एक बार very तगड़ा result, again beat everybody in the space. They told कि like IT rate, IT में कुछ नहीं, they didn't find anything, everything is cleared. And after Q2 we saw that Jhansi Orchha का land issue happen. Now Q3 का result came, again proved that IT का भी no impact, Jhansi Orchha hospital also no impact. Q3 ka this one came, numbers came, proved everybody wrong again. And again between Q3 and Q4 we had this that Supreme Court ka thing, where they had they want to standardize the rate for private hospital. Now again, I was in the Concall live, by the way, and I asked the management about this. And the management ka kehna hai ki like all the private hospitals that are there, they formed a committee and they've challenged the decision by the Supreme Court. And again, it is not valid because it is absolutely bonkers to have all hospitals charge you the same, because every hospital is different, right? Everybody ka capex alag hota hai, everybody ka treatment alag hota hai, everybody is paying different salaries to doctors. So how can you expect the same kind of rates across hospitals? Not possible. And they don't see this case going forward also, and they don't see it having any material impact, and they're not worried. So Q3 or Q4 में ये problem भी हो गया. Q4 में ये problem भी हो गया, and now we have the problem of receivables over here, which again is a part and parcel of the business model. I don't think you can look at it like at one ratio and be like, oh, galat ho gaya. So that's that, I would say. Now I would say it again depends on individual as to how you look at it. Like, because see, when you talk about in market, there are plethora of opportunities always. It's not necessarily you have to be stuck with one business also at the end of the day. I would say when it comes to these things, receivables, IT rates, it's how you look at it, right? Everybody has a different lens, and what is right for somebody may not necessarily be wrong, and vice versa. So yeah, that's that about Yatharth Hospital and Trauma Care. Great set of numbers, highest ever hospital clocking in the highest ever sales growth in the entire hospital space, very consistent result over the last 4 quarters, and has been doing everything right. So we'll have to wait and watch in Q1 and Q2 again for the earnings momentum to continue at this rate. And most importantly, I think, is to check in Q2 and see how the receivables have improved. And that's that for Yatharth, and see you again tomorrow. Bye.